Hey drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com and welcome to this free beginner drum lesson. Today I'm going to show you 5 really simple but very cool and effective drum fills that every drummer should be able to play, and when you first start off playing will set you up beautifully for your future on the drums. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the basic rhythm of each drum fill, the 5 examples. Then I'm going to show you 2 different suggestions, I guess, of orchestration ideas. Orchestration is when you move around the drums. So just taking a simple rhythm that you play on the snare drum, for example, or any one surface, it's amazing how different you can make that one rhythm sound just by moving your hands around different drums. So I'm going to show you how you can take an idea and then change it completely by moving it around the drums, hopefully encouraging yourself to do that as well. With all of these examples, you can come up with your own orchestration ideas. I highly recommend that. And of course, you don't have to worry about playing along to a metronome necessarily, unless you want to get really good at timing. I highly recommend it, but when you're playing along to these, just worry about moving the hands around the drums, and then perhaps you can practice it later on with a metronome, or even better, along to music and songs. And I've got loads and loads of song lessons on my website. If you want to go over to drumstheword.com, I teach you songs from start to finish. So there's loads and loads, over 300 famous songs to choose from. So if you want some inspiration to throw these drum fills into a song situation and learn some other drum fills as well, then go over to the website. But in the meantime, let's go on with our first example. So with all of these examples, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play them with a drum beat. It's no good just playing the drum fill on its own, although that's how you're going to start to learn it. Obviously just play around with it on its own, but then you want to put it with a drum beat. You want to practice going from a drum beat into a drum fill and then back to a drum beat, because that's what you do in songs, that's what you do with actual music. So the drum beat I've chosen to play throughout all this lesson is very simple. It's a basic drum beat: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and great drum beat for beginners, that. But of course I encourage you to try and play around with different drum beats. You want to be able to play different drum beats going into drum fills and then back again. So use your own ideas, use your own drum beats. But if you want some more drum beat ideas, and I also did a free top 10 drum beats for beginners video lesson, which you can find a link for up here somewhere, which if you want to watch, you can find. I'll teach you 10 really popular and very useful beginner drum beats. And then if throughout this lesson, if you find any of this reading stuff difficult, I've also done a free video series teaching you how to read drum music, taking you from the beginning all the way to some more advanced reading. So you'll find links for that as well. But this first example, we're playing 8th notes, and as the name might suggest, we can fit 8 of them in the bar, or 2 of them to every beat, because most bars have 4 beats in it, 4 clicks if you like. So if this is our metronome and this is going to be our rhythm, our tempo, then we count it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I'm playing 2 notes, or counting 2 notes in that situation, to every one of those clicks. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's our first example, just played on the snare drum. Let's put it with a drum beat and let's see how it sounds going from the drum beat into the drum fill. And with all these examples, I'm going to start with a crash cymbal at the beginning of the drum beat. After I finish the drum fill, I'm going to hit a crash cymbal at the end, well, beat 1 of the next bar, and then go back to the hi-hat for the rest of the bar. So I'm practicing going out of the drum fill into a crash cymbal like you would do most of the time in real music, and then back to the drum beat. So here's what that sounds like. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now you don't have to play 3 groups of 4 bars like that. I played 3 bars of drum beat, then the drum fill. You could play, for example, to practice it a bit quicker, 1 bar of drum beat, 1 bar of drum fill. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And feel free to experiment with perhaps playing different groupings of sticking. So instead of just right, left, you could play right, left, right, left, left, crash. that might be quite good fun for you. Great sort of introduction to perhaps playing more advanced things later in your playing, being able to use different sticking. Sticking is just simply the order of the hands. Most of these examples will be using right, left, single strokes, but you could play some doubles, right, left, if you wanted to throw in some extra challenges for yourself. So let's take an example. This is a suggestion now. So that was the basic rhythm. Now let's play around with the drums. So I'm going to use, this is the high tom, this is the medium tom, this is the floor tom. If you've only got two toms, a high tom and a floor tom, then you can just simply shrink the drum fill and move it onto less drums. You could use your imagination. And as I said at the beginning of this lesson, please do experiment with your own ideas. Don't just take these as written. Take the basic rhythm and then explore how you can play it around the drums. You might come up with some really cool ideas. But our first example is a classic. It's absolutely brilliant. It's used all over the place. And most of the time when you're playing drum fills, drummers just seem to want to play down the toms. You do get examples where we play up the toms, but most of the time we're playing down the toms. Don't know why that is, we just seem to play down the toms. So this example uses that idea exactly. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and crash. And with a drum beat, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. The next example suggestion, and this is to sort of give you an idea of how you can make it sound completely different, is my own suggestion is just to play 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Now my drum gets a little bit strange because my tom's over this side a bit more. Your high tom would be in front of you, then your medium tom would be here, your hi-hat would be here. So I'm going to use this as the high tom, so it would look like I'm going over here a bit. You'd probably just go up to here. And if you find any of these movements tricky or uncomfortable for you, then feel free to use a different tom instead. But that's going to be my high tom, so 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Sort of a musical idea, moving around the toms. Having the snare drum play on 1 hand and 3 hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Completely different sounding drum fill. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So now what I'm going to do for each of these examples is I'm going to play them with a click for you. As I said at the beginning of the lesson, you don't have to worry about playing along to a metronome to start off with. It perhaps makes it a little bit more difficult for you because you're worrying about the timing and also where your hands are going. But you certainly do want to be able to play in time. So eventually play along with a metronome, or as I said at the beginning of this lesson, even better would be play along to some music, your favourite songs, and try to put these drum fills into your favourite songs. So for each example, the first suggestion, I'm going to play, each suggestion slowly at, I think I chose 60 beats per minute. I'm going to play the drum beat bar once, then the drum fill, then the drum beat bar once, then the drum fill. And then I'm going to play it faster, 100 BPM, 100 beats per minute, but I'm going to make it a 4-bar loop. I'm going to play 3 bars of drum beat, then the drum fill, 3 bars of drum beat, then the drum fill. And you should do the same. Practice playing groups of 2, a drum beat, drum fill, drum beat, drum fill. And then eventually you want to make sure you're spreading out the drum fills, because you're not playing drum fills all the time when you're playing onto music. Play 3 bars here, 1 bar here, 3 bars here, 1 bar here. But here you go. Here's what they sound like. Up to speed, right microphone on so you can hear just the drums. So for this next example, we're going to move into 16th notes, which are twice as fast as the 8th notes. And as the name might suggest to you, 16 can fit into a bar of 4 beats, or 4 notes per beat. Before we had 2 notes per beat. If we're playing along to a click, we're playing 2 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Well, 16th notes have a slightly different counting. They have more notes. We count them 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander. And if I was playing along to that click, we play 4 notes per one of those clicks. 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1. When you're practicing these, I highly recommend that you try and count out loud, but don't feel you have to count out loud all the time. Once you've got the rhythm, once you've got the timing, you don't have to count out loud anymore. You can sort of do it in your head. But when you're first practicing it, it really helps to count it, because then you're sure you're getting the rhythm correct. So 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander. It's a bit of a mouthful. As you speed up, as you get better at these things, you can stop counting out loud. But as you can hear, there are 4 notes being played per click. So same idea as the previous example. We're going to move round and down the drums. 4 here, 4 here, 4 here, 4 here. It's probably the most obvious use or orchestration idea for this drum fill. So it would sound like this. 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1. Practicing going from drum to drum, right, left, 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1. With a drum beat, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, one more bar, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1. So you might have noticed there the difference between 16th notes and 8th notes. They're much faster because we're playing more in the same space. So just for fun, let's play rhythm 1 and rhythm 2 as a drum fill, just on the snare drum, so you can hear the difference in the rhythms next to each other. I'll play it with 1 bar of drum beat, so you can hear how the 8th notes are slower than the 16th notes, or 16th notes are faster than the 8th notes, however you want to think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1. So you can hear the difference in rate of notes. And when you're playing something slow, you might not want to play slow 8th notes. You might want to play 16th notes instead. But when you play something fast, you'll be very happy that you're able to play 8th notes, because the 16th notes would be too fast for you to play, perhaps. So the orchestration idea I just showed you. Let's look at the second suggestion, which is a cool one. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, then back to the snare drum for the last 4 notes. It sort of adds up correctly to the whole bar. 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander. And you shouldn't have any problem going from here back to here. Even though you're playing right, left, the tempo you'll be practicing this when you first start, you've got plenty of time for your hands to move back from the floor tom to the snare drum. Of course, when you play it super fast, you might find that really difficult. In fact, it will be, but it's not impossible. 1 E-yander, 2 E-yander, 3 E-yander, 4 E-yander, 1. So now let's hear those examples, play with a metronome with some drum beats. So things start to get a bit spicy now. What I'm going to do for you is show you how you can combine 8th notes and 16th notes. This last example I showed you the difference between the two, but how about if we put both of them in the same bar? This is where things start to get a lot more fun, in my opinion, when you start to combine things and, you know, use your imagination to put things together that you've already learned in different ways, like Lego bricks, which I love, by the way. So we've got 8th notes into 16th notes. The basic rhythm: 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Let's put it with a drum beat. Let's do a bar of drum beat each time. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Sort of increases in speed, doesn't it? So now, when we start to orchestrate this, we get some really cool sounding drum fills. What I'm going to do for the 4 8th notes, 2 on here, 2 on here, and then I'm going to go back to the snare drum, play 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. That's right, yeah. So 4 groups of 2 there for the 16th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Lovely sounding drum fill. The next orchestration idea I've given for you, or given to you, is a nice one as well. I like this because the hands move around in a cool way. I like the way this feels. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a. That tricky bit there, 3 E and a, it's just simply that. Right, left, and then right, left, left. It just repeats. If you find it weird me playing over here, then you could also play it like that. It doesn't really matter what tom you use, and I highly recommend you try and move these around. Try different rhythms, try different tom combinations. But with these examples, what I've given you is sort of what I think are logical combinations of notes. So groupings of 2s, groupings of 4s, and these common stickings you get. You hear that quite a lot in music. A lot of drummers choose to play that rhythm. So just before I go to the examples, with that drum beat, it sounds like this. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 E and a 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So I'll play it this time. 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And when you're practicing these, please do practice them slowly to start off with. I didn't mention that because I think it's common sense. Everybody knows it. Practice slow, slow. Yes, we all know. But it's really important you do, especially for these weird rhythms and for these orchestration ideas. Practice it slow so your hands get used to where they've got to move on the drum kit. Okay, let's see what they sound like. So for this next example, another combination of 16th notes with 8th notes, just a different combination. You could put these in different orders, any different order, but I've chosen to play 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and. And you might also want to experiment playing the 2 and the 4 and as right instead of right left. 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and. You'll probably find the right version a little bit easier, but I highly recommend you try and split your hands up right left as much as possible, because that's probably more unnatural for you, and you're going to be playing that kind of stuff a lot more later in your playing. When you're splitting up hands between drums, you want to be able to play single strokes, right, left. So feel free to play right for the 2-and and 4-and, but also play as written 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4, and to get used to playing using that left hand within your drum fill. So the first orchestration idea, classic example, going down the toms again, 1 E and a, and then 2 and then 3 E and a, 4 and. So 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 1. Love the idea of that. Next one's a bit weird. We're sort of getting a little bit more complicated now with the orchestration ideas. This could have been any combination. So this is not random, but it could be very, very different if you just move notes around. But I've gone for this rather cool rhythm. 1 E and a. Right, left. So snare, high tom, snare. It's all right, left. Then back up to the high tom for 2 and. Then to the snare drum, 3 E and a, 3 E and a, and then 4 and. Again, it's the same rhythm, but move around the drums, it sounds completely different. 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and. Obviously the rhythm doesn't, but the way you hear it as a musical piece of something, it sounds different. I hope you can hear that. So with a drum beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 1. And let's hear it with a metronome. Okay, so for this last example, I want to show you where you can sort of go with this eventually. I wanted to break up the rhythm and make it a bit more unique, a bit more original. It's not really something that I would give a beginner straight off in their first lesson, but you can memorize it from ear. You can listen to how I play it and you can sort of learn it that way. But don't worry too much about the counting side of it at this stage. I just wanted to show you a cool example of where you can go with these rhythms. So not just the orchestration, but also the rhythm itself. So the bit I'm talking about, the new bit, is the first half of this rhythm, this bar, where we got the rhythm 1 and a 2 and a 3. Right, left, right. You can hear the hands playing 1 and 2 and 3, and the left hand's going to play in between the right hand, in between the and of 1 and 2 and the and of 2 and 3 on the And don't worry about how silly that sounds, e's and and ands and stuff. It's just to help you memorize these rhythms using your mouth. You can sort of count them out loud, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Just by doing that, you can hear what the rhythm's going to sound like. It's just another tool to help you learn, even though it does sound a bit silly. So we get 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 E and a. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 E and a. 1 and a 2 and a 3. That's a tricky bit though. Not tricky as in hard to play, but when you're playing along to a metronome, there's the 100 BPM. We got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 E and a. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 E and a. So when you're playing along to a metronome or playing in time with something, you want to understand that we're playing 1 and 2 and still, and the is being added in between the and of 1 and 2 and the and of 2 and 3. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 E and a. Okay, so there's our basic rhythm. Now let's play it around with it and move it around the drums. So a great way a lot of drummers play this kind of thing is to, again, move down the drums. So 1 and a 2 and a. So 1 and a here, 2 and a here, 3 and then, just for fun, back to the snare drum, 4E and a crash. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4E and a 1. Slowly with a drum beat. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4E and a 1. And for this last example, we're moving around within each of the rhythms here, using different toms within each of those individual beats. So perhaps a little bit more advanced here, but it sounds really cool. We're playing 1 and a, so high tom, snare, snare, and then medium tom, next tom down, 2 and a, and then for fun, I'm going to change the sticking as well. I'm going to play right, right, instead of right, left. Sometimes it just makes sense because you're over here, it's not too fast. So you just play it with the one hand. 3 and then 4E and a on the snare drum. So we get 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4E and a. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4E and a 1. With a drum beat, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4E and a 1. And finally, let's hear what they sound like with a metronome. And there you go. So I hope you found that useful. Feel free to email me, rob@drumsaword.com, if you've got any questions at all. Also, don't forget to download the free PDF that came with this lesson. You'll find a link beneath this video. It has all the examples on, all the suggestions as well. And you can have that printed out in front of you, which you might find useful for when you're practicing along to this stuff. And then you might also want to consider visiting my website, drumsaword.com, where I have a beginner pack available. You'll find a link on each of the pages for the beginner pack, which takes this stuff even further, teaches you all kinds of cool stuff, including how to set up your drum kit, etc., etc. Loads of beginner stuff in there. And then you might also want to consider signing up to become a member at the website. When you're ready, of course, I have beginner full song lessons. So I teach you a song from start to finish. You get a full PDF drum chart that comes with that. So if you want to do the reading side of it, you've got that for you as well. But I show you every single part. I show you slowly and up to speed. And like I said, I've got loads and loads of beginner lessons there. So you might want to consider becoming a member at drumsaword.com. But if you've got any questions about that, feel free to email me, rob@drumsaword.com, or come over to my Facebook page. Again, you'll find a link beneath this video. That's also a great place to make any song suggestions or ask any questions you might have. But until our next drum lesson together, have fun, toodle pip, and happy drumming to you.